Hey there everyone, welcome back to my channel. So last week I posted a video on a single crochet back loop front loop pattern to make a scarf using this yarn, and I love how colorful it is. And then I also posted a short showing how I made this one with a half double crochet stitch using the same pattern. So I'm not sure if I can put the shorts up here in the cards, but I will post that other video up here so you can see how to create this pattern, which I just love. Let me show you how big this scarf is. I love this thing. So I just decided to make a nice big, can you see me? Big long scarf. And I like that it's wide too, and this is just a nice flexible pattern. But I decided that since we were already going a little extra, that we would just also add some tassels. So I haven't done a video showing how to make tassels or how to add tassels to the end of something. So I'm going to take you step by step through that using the leftover yarn that I have from this big ball of yarn that I had. So I'm going to flip you guys over and let's get into it. So the first thing that you want to do when you are creating this fringe, I call them tassels, I guess it's more of a fringe effect, for the end of your piece, you want to decide how long, it's trying to fall off the other end of the table. You want to determine how long you want that fringe to be. So what I did was I just took my leftover yarn and I folded it over while it was still on the ball of yarn and decided that right about here was probably a good length. So a couple of reasons for that. One, when you cut your length of yarn, keep in mind you're going to fold it over. That's how we're going to be able to attach the fringes. So you want to leave enough room to be able to pull this through with your fingers comfortably. The other thing about this is once it's on here, then I'm going to even it out anyway, but then I can decide if I want to go shorter, I can take it a little shorter a bit at a time. I see this as kind of like the theory I always had when cutting hair. I would rather go back and cut more because I can't put it back on, right? All right, so you'll see here that I started cutting a bunch of these already. They're kind of bunched up because I was cutting them while I was watching TV, so I had to bring them upstairs. But you still get the general idea. So because this is a yarn that changes color, you'll notice I have a whole lot of purple. It actually started, I still had this pink left over, and you can see where the pink started to turn into the purple. So then I ended up with all this purple and then this all this blue and white variegated, and then it went into the pink. Well, you very well could do color blocking with that, right? So you can kind of imagine, like I could do, just purple and pinks and whatever. Like that's up to you if you want to do that. But I love that it's so colorful, and I want to mix up all the yarns. So I don't want just like a bunch of purples on one end and then the greens and pinks on the other end. I think that would look pretty. I think do what you want if you want to do that, and it might actually be a nice way to sort of bring all of these colors together on both ends. But I just want to make it really colorful. For some reason, that seems like it'll be less stressful to me as well than trying to make sure I have enough tassels for to make it super perfectly even, right? I'd rather just let it be wild and free. So what I did was, you can see right here where I continued cutting this, because of the color pattern that the ball of yarn was in, I actually took it apart after I got through with the blues right here, because it just went back into this purple. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna end up with so many of these. I don't need all of this. So I just unraveled it, reversed it, put it in a ball, and then I cut it in half. So, so that I could get to the colors that I wanted to get to. And so then I just end up with a little bit of scrap yarn. That's okay. It will be used for something at some point. It is all right. So that's just something to keep in mind. So what I did, I cut my first piece, and this is, the total length of this is 14 inches. Once I measured it and decided how long I wanted it to be, I measured it on a ruler to kind of be able to keep myself on track. And then honestly, I just kind of got into the groove of it, lay out my original piece, lay out, oh, come back here. Oh my, rolled away. So then lay out the next bit of yarn, right? Get it pretty close together and trim it, right? Again, we're going to trim this up toward the end or at the end of our whole process. So I'm just kind of in this groove of cutting this yarn until I feel like I have what I need. So I'm going to do these. I took a look at it, and I'm going to do these in batches of 4. So if you don't want to just cut wildly the way that I am, and I'm just cutting a bunch because I can play. I have another roll of this yarn, so I figure I might make another scarf, and I can use these for tassels on that as well. But if you want to be more precise about it, I am doing these in bunches of 4, and I will show you how to do that as soon as I get the rest of these cut. One thing to keep in mind that I was just thinking about as I was spacing out and cutting these is to make sure you're not pulling it tight, right? If you do want to use a ruler, if it makes you feel better to use a ruler or whatever, like you'll notice, oh, let's get you in there. Like if I'm doing this and I'm pulling it tight, right, that's about the length I want. But you see how the yarn sort of bounces back? Some of it's a little more wrinkly and wobbly and wavy because of where it was rolled up. So really this is, I just lay it out very relaxed and lay the next piece out a little relaxed. And so it might be a little longer or shorter, but that is okay. That's why at the end we're going to trim it up evenly. And this is why I say it is better to leave it a little longer than to cut it too short at any stage initially. Okay, so all of my yarn is cut. This is, I'm sure, an excessive amount. There's no way you're going to need this much for this. Just, yeah. But I am prepared for future projects. All right. What you will also need is your crochet hook, the same size crochet hook that you used for the project so that it fits through the spaces in your project. This is a 5mm. I used to do this half double crochet, and this is a 4-weight yarn. And I actually made some method to my madness. I'm going to start on the 2 ends first. So I'm going to use certain colors on the ends and then work my way in. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to do the purple, and I'm going to do this, and the pink, and the green, because I really like how that pink and green look together, which is probably why they put it on the same ball of yarn, right? Genius. All right, so I'm going to take one end of all of these and kind of match them up on one end. They're not going to match on both ends. All right. All right, so there we go. There we have that. And you can see it's wobbly on the other end. That is okay. So now I'm going to fold it in half. Find as close to the middle as possible. See how those mostly line up at the bottom? The shortest bits line up. And then I have my middle right here and my center right here. So I'm just going to hold on to that. So my crochet hook, we're going into the spaces right here. Okay, you see the little loops right here. I'm going to go into this first one on the end, just like that. And I'm going to take the center of that yarn and pull it through, just like that. I have this nice loop right here. And then I'm just going to go with my forefinger and my thumb and grab that yarn, pull the loop over, and gently pull that through. Okay, and voila, we have a tassel. Oh, where are you? There we go. We have a tassel in the end. Okay. Now I tried it earlier. This is going to be personal preference for you where you want to start, but definitely start in the same space on both ends. Earlier I tried it, instead of going through the very first loop, I went through the second loop right here. And so once I pulled my tassel through, it left sort of a knot looking situation that I wasn't too thrilled about. So I'm just starting at the very end. because I like it. It's personal preference. It's your project. Do what you want. All right, so now I'm gonna do the same colors, the purple, the pink, and what else did I do? The green. And I'm gonna work into the other end. So again, line everybody up on one end. Voila. Straighten it out a bit. Ooh, these are really wonky. This is what happens when your ADHD kicks in and you start spacing out. So, and they start just getting longer as you go down the row. So I'm gonna get the shortest ends lined up, find my center. All right, and then on the same stitch opposite, I'm going to go into that space, pull these through. Okay. Thumb and pointer finger, grab that yarn from back here, pull it through, and boom, tighten it up. Just gently give it a little nudge. Make sure they're all lined up nicely. So boom, so we have our first two tassels on here. Now I'm gonna find my center, which I think is right about here. Let's see. Yeah, so I think that's right about here. So right in the middle of that purple. I'm gonna stick my crochet hook in there. I'm gonna do the same color, and then on the other two, I'm gonna add the blue. Okay, so now I'm going to basically do the same thing, but I'm going to find the center of these two. So right about here for in between this one, and I think it looks like right about here in between this one, okay? I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to show you guys kind of where the rhyme and reason is for that, okay? But I'm going to do this, except instead of the darker blue, I'm going to use the lighter blue, and I will meet you back. Okay, so now you have this, right? And maybe this is all the tasseliness and frilliness, fringiness, whatever you want to call it, that you want. Now I think I am going to go in, but I did it this way, that way they come out nice and even. I don't have to worry about counting exactly where the stitches are. Also, if you're using different colors, like say you wanted to do maybe all purple, all pink, all blue, green, right? This would make it easier for you to make sure it comes out balanced, right? Without worrying about all the little stitches and so forth. So I think I am going to go in and I'm going to do one here and here and here and here, and that will allow it to be evenly spaced without too much fuss or muss. So now if you're planning to do, you know, however many colors you want to do, and you don't want to cut like a boatload of yarn the way that I did, this is how my brain works. It might not be how your brain works. Keep in mind that for this, let's see how wide this little scarf is. So this is right a little over 6 inches in width, right? So I will be doing, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on each side, and 4 strands for each. So 9 times 4 is 36. So count on 36 strands for this end, 36 strands for this end, and that would help you to plan it. The other thing that I want to mention is you'll notice I went in from the back so that all of the little sort of, I don't know what to call them, the wrapped pieces are on the front, because to me this looks like the back. Now when I'm doing the other side, keep in mind we're working with something flat. Let's zoom you out. Whoops, that's in. So sorry. All right, so keep in mind if you fold it over, you're going to end up on the wonky side. So you want to make sure you're working on the same side, right? So laying it out like this is all the same side. Does that make sense? This is all the top. And so then when I do this, I'm going to go in from the bottom on this side so that it's all on the same side. I really hope that made sense. All right, something else that I just thought about, if you do watch the other video that I link, I made that scarf a little bit thinner than this one. I just decided to go wide and chunky with this one. So that is another good reason, like, to kind of start from the edges so that you know you're going to be nice and even. So this is nice and even orientation. Just play around with it. Honestly, like, you could even do less strands. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking you could do maybe 2 strands, just whatever effect you're going for, right? And do even more and fill in all of those spaces. But it's something to play with. I like this. I'm just kind of combing them out a little bit to get them mostly even, because now we're going to decide our cutting length. So the easiest thing to do, and again, I'm not going to stretch anything too much. So let's see, are we in the camera? There we go. Let's just kind of straighten everybody out as much as possible, gather everybody. I have my fabric shears here. If you have shorter scissors, it's okay too. It'll just take you a little longer to get through. So if you have the shorter scissors, it might actually be more comfortable to go across. Whatever works for you, whatever you have. If you just have plain kitchen scissors, it will work, okay? So I'm gonna kind of look at where the shortest parts are with my immaculate measuring skills. You can see how gorgeous this is. All right, so there are some really short pieces in here. I don't think that's terrible either. What I'm gonna do first is I'm going to just cut off the longest pieces, the pieces that are just blatantly like out there waving at me, mocking me right now. And you can see I'm just gently holding the yarn. I'm not gonna pull and tug because it's gonna pop back up, kind of like cutting bangs, since I used the hair analogy earlier. And I'm just gonna let them lay flat and trim them up a bit. All right, so you can see I still have some shorter pieces in here as well. I personally don't necessarily hate that. I think it kind of adds to the texture of it. And with yarn anyway, as it wears, as you wash it, some of this is going to start to fray a little bit at the ends. I personally think that just adds to the character of it. If you wanted it to be absolutely exact across, I'm going to nip at it just a little bit more. You could keep going if you want all of them the same length. Okay. Like if you wanted to find your shortest pieces and go with that and cut it absolutely straight across, you can do that too. But I kind of like that, especially with all the colors that are going on. I don't know. I like it. It makes me happy. All right. And it's your project, whatever makes you happy. All right. So there is that. I'm going to do the other side. Oh, so fun. One last thing I wanted to point out before I wrap it up is that you definitely want to try to make sure both sides of your tassels, your fringe, are about even. I don't know why this ended up so much longer. I guess because I already trimmed some of that. So I'm going to just kind of eyeball where this is, right? So they're mostly even. Again, it doesn't have to be super perfect, but that way, oh, it's wobbling a little bit. Trying to make sure the scarf doesn't fall off the table. So that way they're pretty much the same length, so you don't end up with some weird random long piece over here on the end. All right, so there we go, my friends. Now you know how to make fringe, and I just love this thing. Again, I need cold weather. There we go. I'm gonna see where the fringe is. Like, I need a different camera angle here. We're just gonna do this. There's my fringe for the day. Tassely. It's just cute. She's just cute and I love her. All right, I think I'm gonna have to start making some kind of summer projects because it's like 85 degrees here now. So I think the scarves and such may have to wait until fall. But then again, you know, like if you're like me, you plan ahead, you just do what you want to do. Like you could start making things now if you're making things for holiday gifts, right? It's good to get a head start. Do what you want. But yeah, I have so many scarves. This, like, it looks really cute with this shirt. So anyway, just wear it in the house until I start getting too hot. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Take care. I will stop rambling now, and I will see you in the next video very soon. If you are currently a subscriber, thank you. You guys are the reason I keep coming back. And if you have not already subscribed and you like to do lots of artsy, craftsy things, please think about subscribing, and I will see you guys soon. Have a great day. Go forth, be creative, make fringe for something.